So that's kind of the Asato Dojo's role. We're not trying to build a Asato Dojo kind of organization. We're much more of a sort of a bridge for connecting people to the karate culture in Okinawa.
Hey guys, and welcome to Karate Over Coffee,
a podcast where we chat about everything and anything related to karate and Kobudo. I'm Recce Cummings, and I'm here with my friend and colleague, Cheyne McMahon.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Karate Over Coffee. We've got a special guest today, James Pankiewicz, all the way from Okinawa.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Cheyne and Recce, for having me on, and I'm very much looking forward to having this chat with you guys.
I think it'll be a great chat today. The previous podcasts, we've spoken about different things about running a karate school, and obviously, James, you have a little bit of a unique experience there being in the birthplace of karate. So do you want to give us a little bit of a brief introduction to you and your story?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. So I've been in Okinawa now for 11, 12 years, living full-time. My wife is Okinawan. I have 3 kids here. But I originally came to Japan to pursue karate practice and study Japanese language and culture. And that was back in the 90s. So I found my way down to Okinawa, and I've been studying karate mainly and other martial arts along the way for about 30 years now. About 3 years ago, I opened my own dojo, which is called the Asato Dojo. And it's just across the street from where the Dojo Bar used to be. And the Dojo Bar was my main kind of business for 9 years. The Dojo Bar was kind of a fairly well-known place that karate people would get together and meet in Okinawa. So lots of great memories, that place. It was a place where lots of people got to get together, both locals and visitors. And also great place to learn as well. We learned a lot of things there. The Okinawan teachers would often say, that you learned as much outside the dojo after the training as you do inside the dojo. And
yeah, the conversation
in the Dojo Bar.
Yeah.
But anyway, now the Asato Dojo is my main kind of focus. And like I say, we've been open for just about almost 3.5 years now.
And James, a lot of people are wondering, mate, how the hell do you say your name and how do you spell it? Yeah,
Pankiewicz. Pankiewicz is, I guess, the easy way to say it. If you're in Japan, it would be Pankiewicz. So yeah, Pankiewicz. You shouldn't feel bad if it's hard to say or spell. I can remember the day when I learned to spell my own name. It was that
were you 14 or 15?
So yeah, it's been a challenge.
Yeah, I bet, especially in living in Okinawa, people trying to spell it, and I suppose it's phonetically over there.
It's just best endeavors, really. I mean, I've come across 5 or 6 different attempts at sort of phonetically spelling out my name in katakana, which is the language, the symbol set, character set in Japanese you use for foreign words. There is no perfect fit, so we just go with the best that we can.
Yeah.
And you decided to go with Asato Dojo rather than the traditional surname Dojo idea as well.
Yeah, I thought James Ryu or James Dojo seemed a little bit too presumptuous. So Asato Dojo, we're in Asato. We are in the area called Asato, which has a lot of, as you guys will well know, a lot of historical connections with the development of karate over the centuries in Okinawa. And indeed has been the name of some very important people. Bushi in Okinawan karate history. So yeah, that felt more appropriate and more practical too.
And it's good for a Google search as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Always go for an A name, right? It's easy to remember. It comes up quick as well, right?
Exactly, exactly. So I see your background. You've got the Bujin TV. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how it's a powerful tool for martial artists?
Yes, thanks, Shane. I'd love to. So Bujin TV is, I guess the easiest way to describe it is sort of a Netflix for karate. But so that's you get the gist of it. Essentially, it's an online video streaming site dedicated to martial arts content. The idea had been kicking around in my head for a little while, and then a couple of things happened that made it realistic, which was I was contacted by a technical team based down in South America, headed by a fellow called Christian Romanelli. Christian's also a dedicated karateka, and his team were kicking around some concepts around building karate websites, and so we kind of got together and developed it into the idea of Bujin TV. And to be honest, also with COVID coming along, I mean, of course, it's been extremely difficult for a lot of people and very, very hard for a lot of people, but there's always a sort of a silver lining to the cloud. COVID, in our case, well, it freed me up to focus on Bujin. The Dojo Bar closed down, unfortunately, due to, the lack of people coming to Okinawa. But also, of course, everybody now has been going online for their karate content, for their martial arts content, and so it felt like the timing was good. And so our vision with Bujin is that we add high quality content to Bujin. It's a little bit different from YouTube in that we are sort of we kind of select the content, select who we work with in order to ensure the quality of the content there. We tend to have longer format content too. So we tend to have seminars and documentaries and interviews and things like that, as well as shorter instructional pieces. So in that way, it's kind of closer to Netflix than YouTube.
I think it's interesting because obviously content production, coming from a marketing background, content production is something that's really important. And prior to COVID, I'm not sure that everyone was necessarily looking at how do they produce content, or if they do produce content, how do they publicly make it available? But content is king, to use that line. And from a dojo's point of view as well, obviously publishing content can be a good PR exercise or a good way to get what you're doing out there. So how do you sort of see, I guess, Bujin TV on the other side as well, helping people get their content out there, their message, the things that they're doing?
Yeah, well, Bujin TV is sort of, it connects an audience with those people that are producing content that they want to share, and it does it around a core theme, right? So in that way, I see Bujin TV very much work the way that the Dojo Bar worked. There are people coming together with a common interest, teachers and students in that context. But yeah, there's been, an explosion in the amount of content that people are producing. Of course, with a lot more content out there, also sometimes it's hard to find, the content that you're looking for, the stuff that either in terms of quality or content is what you need to find. And so I think, building this sort of community of content producers, usually teachers, but not always. Some are documentary makers, some are movie makers. Building that into a community, it kind of helps to build an area where people can come and they've got a good idea about what they're going to be able to find and the themes, etc. But also, we always want to kind of exceed their expectations. People come expecting to find this, and they find an extra of some kind. And that also was a lesson that I learned from the Dojo Bar, was that if people come away with a little more than they thought they would, then that's massively more valuable for them too. So, if we were to talk from a marketing perspective, if you can always exceed their expectations just a little bit, then they'll be, feel very compelled to come back and hopefully enjoy that same experience again, right? So for dojo owners, for example, or instructors who are producing content, Bujin TV offers them a place where they kind of know the audience, right? They know that people are there because they have this strong interest in martial arts. Often they're there looking for materials to learn from. And so, we hope that makes it easier to connect the two, teachers and instructors and sort of potential students together. I think the dynamics are changing a bit too, right? I mean, it used to be, I suppose, just that if you opened a school or if you were an instructor, the people that came physically to learn from you were the people that you interacted with and the people that also then sort of financially supported you as well, perhaps. But with online now, everything is so much more open that the dynamics have changed. It's not so much about where you are necessarily situationally, actually geographically, but more about how what you have to communicate, and also the way that you do it. Of course, people have to really work on their presentation style, I suppose.
Yeah, we know. It
does make a big difference.
Yeah.
And that can be a hard thing. If you're focused on teaching martial arts, for example, and doing it as faithfully to the way that you were taught to do it, that may not be exactly the way that it needs to be done online. So that I mean, certainly for myself, people I work with here, it's been quite a learning curve, actually. I mean, how do you guys find it?
Well, I think in Australia today is 12 months plus 1 day since the country shut dojos down. So that was yesterday was sort of the day that every dojo in Australia went online. Well, not every dojo, but those that did went online. And I found that I said only to my students the other day, it was probably the most exhausting time in my martial arts career, standing in front of a computer, because we kept our regular timetable. So that was about 4 hours a day, 5 days a week for pretty much the same amount of students. But you don't get any of the energy back. You don't get any of the feedback. So delivering online or delivering in a video or virtual way, I think requires a different set of skills. A different way of communicating. But I personally found that, while I never want to do it again if we can avoid it, I found that a lot of those skills that were developed have made my actual delivery in class better, and an attempt to understand people as well with the interactive content. Online requires a lot more thought process, a lot more investigation to really figure out what you need to do, and they apply well to in class as well. I know that's a little bit different to the content on Bujin, because it's not necessarily interactive, but I think you've still got to consider all those things, the different learning styles and how it all fits together.
Yeah, I think also how you deliver a technique or a kata will forever change for video when you've got live people watching it live as well. The same as Recce, it was exhausting, man. Just like I'd rather teach 5 classes back to back at the dojo than 5 video classes, because you have to do everything at 100%. You can't just walk around and correct people. You've got to show everybody how to do the techniques. But what I really like about the Bujin TV is the amount of different. It's not just karate or not just Kobudo. There's other martial arts, other ideas where you can see the similarities. How have you found that, James?
Yeah, well, that was actually one of the reasons why we didn't call it Karate TV. For example, that was one of the early ideas, Karate TV, right? Makes sense, kind of straightforward. But I, from the beginning, I wanted it to be, all about traditional martial arts that sort of, that are part of culture, and the culture extends obviously around all of human civilization. The idea of Bujin, of course, Bujin is a Japanese word, but it's also a concept that's come through from Chinese martial arts. So indeed, it's a concept that kind of stretches through probably Asian martial arts, but also the idea of Bujin can kind of extend to other martial arts too. So we went for this name to try and to sort of symbolize and signal that we want to have this very wide view. And it's been great, even though we've only been live for about 5 months now. Already that we have now a lot of content. We started with a lot of content from Okinawa and Japan. We then added content from Chinese martial arts. We've recently added content from Indian martial arts too. I'm hoping that we'll add more content, for example, from Maori martial arts, New Zealand, from other martial arts around the world as well. I'd like to add more content from Southeast Asian martial arts, for example, Silat, from European martial arts too. So I think that we have a great platform and opportunity to do that. It's all very much sort of a shared area of interest and a theme. Also, I'm particularly like content that has a little more depth to it. It's good that we learn, technically how to do this technique or that technique, but also it's good to get a little more depth to the idea of what martial arts practice is about too.
And what are you hoping for the next 6, 12 months or 2 years? What are you hoping it's going to look like?
Well, hopefully we will continue to add additional content. We've still got a good pipeline of content. I'm hoping that we'll be able to add more, as we've done, more in-depth instructional content, but also some broader content. So let's say more educational or even entertainment content, things that are more like movies and broad documentaries. In fact, in the next month, we'll be releasing some fantastic documentaries from Empty Mind Films. Just beautiful martial arts themed documentaries. I'm also hoping that the other thing that we're rolling out is to make Bujin TV available across more channels. So on mobile channels, on smart TV, etc., etc. Also, I'm hoping that we can start to connect the online Bujin TV activity with real world activity. So connect and sponsor events, such as international seminars and other things, so that we can bring together, actually give people, again, they have a shared common interest, and we can bring them together to take part in seminars and events in Okinawa.
You mean live seminars?
Yeah.
Great.
So I was really hoping that we could organize one here in Okinawa at the end of this year. Now it's looking like maybe not. So 2022 probably. Once we can, most of us can travel again, then I think there's so much pent up desire to be able to travel and visit again that a lot of people are going to do that. So,
and very importantly, James, how do Recce and I get it for free?
That's a good question.
What's the password?
We will point out though that it's not a sponsored podcast, but
not yet.
But it does. All of this does play a pretty important part. Like content and how we're delivering it is important. And obviously, at the moment, we can't get to Okinawa, or those of us that have teachers in Okinawa, we can't get those people over. But you've said that obviously travel is this pent-up thing, and I know it is because I'm looking at booking a domestic holiday, and everyone who would normally go overseas at the moment is traveling domestically in Australia. But that sort of links in well, I guess, to the idea of tourism. Tourism has been increasing quite significantly in Okinawa, or karate tourism. And there's obviously been a high push with the Olympics that was pushing that form of karate and the publicity that was gathering, and then Okinawa perhaps then looking to go, well, how do we also promote our own agenda? So how have you seen, I guess, Okinawan karate tourism change over the 10 years that you've been there? How do you see it positively or negatively impacting the community there and more broadly?
Excellent question by Recce, but you'll have to wait for part 2, coming shortly.
Thanks for listening, guys. And if you'd like more information, check us out at karateovercoffee.com.
or have a look at wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it be on Spotify, iTunes, on the website or online. And I look forward to grabbing a coffee with you next time.